Okay, I'm recording. Are you recording?
Let's see. I think so. I've never done one from.
You got a regular Android, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so just scroll down to the top and you'll see options for screen record. Just scroll down from the top and you'll see an option for screen record. Click on what kind
That's
of
okay.
Android you got.
If you're recording it, that's probably okay. I can't seem to find it.
Yeah, but then you won't be able to post it on your page. Oh, yeah, I guess you could just share mine.
Yeah, I can share yours. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
So here we go. How's it going, everybody?
Okay.
My name is Vincent. This is Jesse. Jesse, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I am a herb nerd, nature freak, I guess you'd call me. I don't know. I mean, all of us are indescribable, but the things that I, think about and the things I'm active in doing is, Dharma work. I know that's one of our shared heart sort of connections.
I know. I'm telling you right now. Every single thing you do, we share.
Yeah.
I just want to let you know that right now. But go ahead. Go ahead.
The permaculture, health coaching, fasting, and juicing. I'm a certified juice therapist. I'm a herbalist. So basically, my passion is trying to, create causes and conditions of happiness for all beings, the nature beings, human beings, health, and fun, and that. I think this is a heaven realm. This is a Buddha realm, but we have to treat it as such. And it takes a bit of exertion, to create that sense in yourself and in the world. But is well worthwhile, and it's something we can all aspire to and gain benefit from.
Okay, I want to jump right into the alchemy because when I saw that you were into alchemy on your page, I've been practicing alchemy knowingly for maybe 6 years, but I think that everybody's alchemical journey begins with pranayama and yoga, or begins when you start to practice qigong. Like the day that you start to practice pranayama and qigong, you're starting to practice alchemy. But I just don't think that a lot of people are aware of it, or develop high enough into their qigong or pranayama practice where they start consciously practicing alchemy. So when you practice alchemy, are you practicing external alchemy, internal alchemy, or both external and internal alchemy?
I do. I approach it from both directions. I feel, there's sort of in the same Buddhist sense, there is no inner and outer. There's just, it's really the inner experience that we get these reflections of the outer.
Well,
But
when I say inner and outer, Jesse, like external alchemy would be like you're turning your fruit juices and fermenting them into kombucha would be external alchemy. Internal alchemy is stuff that you're doing inside of your body, um, without external
yes,
resources.
I feel it's both because I do external alchemy. Our school is the Zia Energetics School of Elemental Permaculture and Herbalism. So it's basically just a recognition of that is part of the cosmology of all indigenous peoples across the earth, of sort of an animism that there is, we're in a world of spirits, and that some of the guiding energies are the energies of earth, wind, fire, and water. So when I'm looking at site design for permaculture, I'm looking at the flows of earth, wind, fire, and water. When I'm health coaching, I'm looking at people's dosha types, and I'm trying to match, through uh,
Elements.
like elements or dissimilar elements to create balance. It's sympathy or antipathy. Those were the words I was seeking for. So that you can create
Say that
balance.
again, Jesse. Say those two words again.
Sympathy and antipathy. So
Okay.
in terms of like external alchemy as relative to the body, on a hot day, you may have a warm dosha type, like sort of a fiery dosha type. Uh,
Pitta.
you that can be inflamed, like I had today a little bit, because I'm a Aries, a triple Aries, so I have a strong fire dosha, and I was out in the sun a lot, and I kind of got a headache. And this is the Kundalini energy rising. That's also a fire energy, you know. So what was helpful was when I broke fast, I had some watermelon juice, and the watermelon juice is antipathy. Since it's dissimilar, it will cool down the heat. But you could also use chilies, which would expel heat to the periphery of the system, and you could lose, and then evapotranspirate, you know, through sweating, and cool off that way. So you can use the different sides of sort of the thermodynamics and energies of earth, wind, fire, and water to create balance. So that's sort of the external um, alchemy. But the internal alchemy is the harmonization of the elements of earth, wind, fire, and water, because these are part of our mind as well in terms of Ayurveda and doshas. And this is also similar in Tibetan as well as Chinese traditional medicine. Actually, Ayurveda is the root of both of those, informing both of those traditions. So, you know, similarly, our mentality has amalgamation of earth, wind, fire, and water in different proportions for each one of us. So each one of us is extremely unique in our physical and psychological, spiritual needs and development and balancing, you know, and the action I see to be both within and without. The within is mostly through the breath, through, you know, qigong, through stilling, through the harmonization and integration of these dynamic energies, because they're often playing against each other, you know, in our minds and in our lives and in our bodies, and, you know, the environment, you know, whether you're in a hot environment or cold environment, you know. So it's about this game of recognition, you know, with the elements, and having this dance with the elemental architecture for well-being, you know.
So for me, I teach most of my students to start out with internal alchemy is fundamental charging, which is basically how to increase the chi or the energy in your stomach, which is very simple. Relax the body, relax the mind, ground, and breathe deeply into your abdomen. The second breath that I teach is breath of enlightenment, which is when the chi fills up here, how to bring that energy up into your brain so that the brain gets nourished with the kundalini, with the fluids, and with everything else. You're drawing that energy up from here into here. Because if you have no energy here, then no good. So the first thing you want to do is restore your bio battery and then go from there. For me, the internal alchemy, and there's a lot of levels to internal alchemy, and there's a lot of different techniques. So the basic techniques should be taught first. Pranayama, the basic concept, you have life force energy, you can restore your life force energy. Breath restores your life force energy. When we start talking about herbs and how they affect the doshas or the jing essence or the life force essence or just everything, because the herbs are so complex. This one builds blood, this one builds yin, this one's good for, this one increases pitta, this one increases ohas, this one increases. So the herbalism for me, I'm actually writing a book on it right now. It's a very in-depth subject. Just to understand Ayurveda or Chinese medicine, just to understand one of them, can take people anywhere from 6 months to 8 years to understand
Mhm.
one. To understand both of them fully, because I've
A
studied both
lifetime.
Ayurveda and Chinese medicine, and I'm still studying.
Mhm.
Um, they're both just absolutely beautiful, beautiful systems.
Mhm.
But when I'm referring to external alchemy, because what you said is 100% true. In fact, one of the meditations is meditating on what's happening inside of you and meditating on what's happening outside of you, and then combining the two together. So I completely agree with what you're saying. But external alchemy would be if this is grapes
Oh,
and I turn
yeah.
this into wine.
Mhm.
That
Yeah, I do
that
plenty. Plenty
If
of
I
that in terms of fermentation and making herbal tinctures and spagyrics and
exactly now, if I can sit here like this and increase the water element, or make it rain, or make the wind blow, that would be external alchemy.
Mhm,
But anything that I'm doing within my own body is internal alchemy. And for me, and I think most practitioners, internal alchemy is easier because your mind is already doing things within your body. So, for example, if I respond to something in a very stressed out fashion, that the way that I respond to that stress is going to affect my body in a deteriorative type of way. If I respond to something in more of a level headed type of action, the body is not going to respond in such a negative way. Anger, excessive anger, is linked to liver problems and cancer.
mhm,
So when we focus in the yogic system, uh, when we focus on breath, breath prepares for concentration. So pranayama prepares the mind for concentration, but it also increases the life force energy. But when you're doing pranayama, you're focusing on your body. And the more and more that you practice it, the more and more sensitive that you become to what's happening in your body. For example, you might notice that every time you get upset, your stomach hurts. Or every time that you get angry, your liver hurts. Or when you start to worry, your kidneys hurt. So
mhm.
these emotional cycles that go within your body as you practice, when you start to manipulate them, this is internal alchemy. That makes sense?
Yeah, I'm saying though that that can be done with exterior things. The jing, the jing are the herbs that would nourish the three treasures: jing, qi, and shun. You know, the yin and yang aspects of them. To appropriately diagnose and help someone nourish. You can nourish the life force energy, the consciousness, the spirit, of a person with the herbs.
Oh yeah,
Uh, I
absolutely.
think of that and as also being sort of a, I don't know, I think it's sort of a semantics thing, the external and
Well,
internal.
in
Uh,
my writings, I have herbalism as one main subject, and then
mhm,
internal alchemy as one main subject.
mhm, mhm.
And they're all these
Mixed
are what
all the time.
they're called longevity practices.
Mhm. Yes,
Yeah.
that's it.
So the herbalism, absolutely. There's it's about 110 herbs in my book. I studied
Okay.
I studied all 6,000 herbs that were in the Materia Medicas for the last 36 months. So
Awesome.
yeah, and
Awesome.
in my van right now, my van is
Good.
actually a mobile herbal medicinary with 110 herbs. I could pull up into a town and heal the whole town with this thing. I got the best 110 herbs on the planet here. So I am huge into herbalism. One of the things that I like about you and your practices is you're so close to the land, you're able to forage, you're able to grow off the land. Your karma is way different than mine. I wish I had land to grow plants on and do things like that. I don't. I am practicing internal alchemy and hermeticism in the mountains in solitude right now.
Great.
I'm practicing heavy martial arts and very, very high level internal alchemy, qigong, and pranayama. There was a bunch of questions I wanted to ask you. You studied with Elatome, correct?
Yes, yes.
Did he teach you specific internal alchemical techniques?
Yes, but they were ones I was already exploring because my path to, that bleeds into another whole realm of breatharianism and chronic living, which I've been, just to frame that, I've been living on like 95% liquids for the last 8 years, dry fasting 23 hours a day for the last three, you know, and that whole process is the development of chi and, the refinement of chi. And the practices are, as you're alluding to, there's the internal and external, the herbs, as well as more importantly, doing with Elitom, it's the microcosmic orbit, you know, and that's basically the Taoist sort of core meditation, where you are nourishing the energy centers and the organ systems consciously with your mind, your chi, and harmonizing these elementals. So his main practice is just the basic qigong to open up the channels and to start learning to work with qi with, I think it's called, oh man, I can't remember the name of the most basic, you probably know,
Small
fundamental.
circulation.
No, well, I mean, not the microcosmic orbit. I'm thinking of the qigong practice. I mean, microcosmic orbit is qigong, but it's the basic thing to open up your body and to start building energy in your hands with different positions, and
Oh, standing qigong.
gathering the heaven
Standing
chi and
qigong.
gathering the earth chi.
Standing
I think,
qigong.
yeah, standing qigong, and I think that there's a form though. I think it's called namdong or something like that.
Oh, nadong. Nadong.
Nadong. That's like Nadong and microcosmic orbit are the fundamentals of Elitam's transmission and practice. And he would say, meditation is the foundation of breatharianism. It's all about clearing these energy channels physically and mentally through the breath, more so, but also with fasting, practice, and the other, life cultivation practices like seminal retention and, grounding and sun gazing and exercise, and, just things that are, as we go on, people are finding more and more, this is just, in the biohacking movement, that this is just fundamental natural hygiene,
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm. Yeah. I've
but,
actually created some new techniques.
mhm.
These techniques that I've created are very, very, very special. I'm writing the book on it as we speak in the mountains. I'm writing 3 books. I got to a point where it was like, because I finished 3 books already. My
Wow.
my first book
Awesome.
my first book is Yoga Sutras. It basically explains how to join your mind, your body, and your soul as one, and bring it to a place where it's completely absorbed in the present moment, and your soul never gets entangled in samsara again. That's basically what this book is. I studied it for about 15 years. It's only got about 240 sutras. So it's Sankhya philosophy. This is my first book. I think philosophy is so important because it teaches us right from wrong, and it brings us to higher ideas and higher ideals. And
Yeah.
philosophy allows you to see things that the eyes can't see, the body can't feel, that the ears can't hear, that the nose can't smell, that the tongue can't taste. My second book is the Dhammapada.
Hmm.
So this one's got 423 verses. Now, coming up as a devout Christian, and I still am, I'm still a follower of Christ. I
Mhm.
guess I would be considered kind of a rebel because I think some of the people would be like, and you do alchemy, and I'm like, but uh,
These are the fundamentals of Jesus's teaching.
right,
Actually. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And,
Yeah.
but the thing is that nowhere in the Bible does he sit down and teach the disciples how to do internal alchemy or qigong meditation. He just teaches them how to do things on power of will and empowers them. Whether they did
There
some
is
things,
some, there is some in the Gnostic Gospels of peace. It's more with respect to this, like, sort of external, internal. But he talks about, if you ever watch the Essene Gospels of peace, not Gnostic Gospels, the Essene Gospels that have been omitted, and some of the stuff in the Ethiopian Bible, he does actually transmit more of that information.
curious, send me a link, bro.
Sure,
So
sure.
after having to study the Buddhism and the yoga and trying to figure out like what's the difference between Buddhism and yoga, um, I finally completed the Dhammapada after 2 years. It took me to write that book, and I think that the yogic path and the Buddhist path lead to the same way. My honest assessment is that the Buddha had Sankhya philosophy in his education. The Buddha was a prince. He was taught by the wisest sages in India. he was definitely taught the Yoga Sutras. So I think that when he achieved enlightenment, he just was trying to explain it in a way to help people to stop suffering. So I do feel like they enter the same path, but some of the monks do say that Buddhism can get you into higher levels of nirvana than just the yoga. But if you really follow the yogic path, I think that that's inevitably going to happen anyway. So for those of you who are wondering, do I need to study both the yogic and the Buddhist? I would recommend just picking one, either the yoga or the Buddha, because if you're going to follow the Eightfold Path, follow the Eightfold Path. If you're going to follow the 8 limbs, follow the 8 limbs. There's a
I
couple ways. Yeah, there's a couple
yeah.
ways in which Buddhist is superior. There's a couple ways in which yoga is superior. So it's really just your preference. But the Yoga Sutras, I think, is a little bit simpler. It's a little bit shorter. It's a little bit simpler. Then my third book is Yoga for Health and Longevity,
Mhm.
and it's
Awesome.
got it's got. I'm really happy with this book. This is what I made last summer. It's like my happy little Bob Ross book. It's got the 80
Yeah.
main yoga poses with their chakras and the benefits.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So
Yes.
I wrote these 3 books too, and now I have 3 books coming out. One's on herbalism, the other one's on some internal alchemical techniques, and the other one is called the Majestic Mystic Arts. And that really you have to read all 3 books to even understand. And I'm not going to get too far ahead into the books that I have coming, um, but I do alchemy when I stand in the sun. I'll go and stand in the sun, and the sun makes vitamin D in your skin, and vitamin D is actually considered a steroid. So, and your bones, the health of your bones is directly connected to the sunlight.
Mhm.
So when I go out there in the sun to practice my sun qigong, my sun alchemy, I pay attention to what happens to my cells, to how the energy hits the skin, and when the skin turns that into the vitamin D, I try and feel it. I try and feel it move through my body. Um, I also do moon as well and feel like a different type of energy there.
Mhm.
I know for a fact you're
Mhm.
doing sun. You're doing sun with where you live and where you are.
A little too much sun. I mean, I love it. It's that thing of you go to the imbalance of your dosha. I am a fire dosha, so I love the sun, and I'll get to a point where it over excites me, overstimulates me. You know,
I do a half
so
an hour. I do a half an hour to 2 hours.
mhm.
That's all. That's it.
Yeah, I sometimes it's just part of my livelihood. A lot of my main bread and butter is creating, edible food forest gardens for people. So I'm in New Mexico. I'm in the garden 5-6 hours a day. It's just I'm getting 6 to 8 or 10 hours of sun daily. You know,
Are you taking American ginseng?
I'm taking Siberian ginseng. Oh no, I'm taking Siberian ginseng and Korean ginseng, which is more warming. I know.
American ginseng. American
It's more
ginseng is
cooling.
it's. I take it every day. I'm a
Yeah.
fire. I'm a fire air dosha. So
Yeah.
fire's first, then air is not far behind, and then earth is the least.
Uh-huh.
So not only am I heated like you, but since I have such air, I dry out very quickly. I take the American ginseng religiously almost every day. Uh,
Yeah, I
that
do asparagus root, white asparagus root.
that works
For that,
too. Chinese
much more.
asparagus root or
Yeah,
shatvari.
Chinese, more cooling. I
Yeah,
do it basically to cool myself. But
I have
it's
both.
probably one of the flying herbs too. Like reishi, the Taoist flying herbs. You
Yes,
know.
yeah. So reishi's neutral in temperature, but
Yeah, yeah.
reishi I take at nighttime because it
Mhm,
helps you sleep and it's good for the heart. But
mhm,
reishi is neutral. American ginseng is by far the best cooling, and the other one that is the best, everybody, gynostemma.
mhm.
Do you,
I really like those as far as the Chinese herbs, and as far as other herbs that are uh, not in that same echelon of the superior herbs, but very effective and very helpful is skullcap is one in vervain, and those will cool you, but they also cool your nervous system. They're actually nervine tropho restoratives and nervine relaxants, so they will calm you. They're bitter, so they make you shudder, and that shudder is your vagus nerve being stimulated into rest and digest, and it just cools out the nervous system, that's usually more I get the stimulation from the sun. I'm like excited, I'm having fun, and then pretty soon I'm like, you know, and I take a little bit of vervain, and it's like, okay, it just brings me down.
Yeah.
You know,
Are those tonifying herbs as well?
they're they're digestive, and they're just tonifying to the nervous system in general. The tropho restoratives, that's its same category as lion's mane, in that they'll rebuild or regrow the myelin sheathing of nerves and neurons, which are like the electrical cables for the chi or the prana.
Okay, and which one was the neurotrope? Was it skullcap or
vervain, but also milky oats, lion's
vervain?
mane.
Lion's mane I take every day. Lion's mane I take every day. Lion's mane, American ginseng every day. I never miss a day. Yeah, it's those two plants right there are absolutely miraculous. But there's 102 plants. I don't have skullcap or vervain in my collection, but I did not know if that skullcap or vervain were neurotropes and neuroprotectives. And then I would ask if they're tonifying herbs, because you just said they're not superior. And for everybody who's listening, superior herbs are the best herbs on the planet, because you can take them, you can't overdose on them, so you can't take too much, and they have little to no adverse effects. In fact, most of them have no adverse effects whatsoever.
Yeah.
And not only do they heal everything in your body, but they also tonify your energy in a in the best possible way available. So if it's a non-superior herb and you take it, then you might not be able to take it for too long because it'll give you adverse reactions, or B, it doesn't increase your energy as it's healing what it needs to heal. Now, the reason why I limit my herbs to basically only superior herbs is because the whole idea is, if you want to stay strong and stay healthy, your chi has to be strong, your prana has to be strong. If your prana gets weak and your chi gets weak, then you get sick, then you fall ill, and then these other things happen. So the body can't heal at all if it's weak. So I take these superior herbs and I stay on top of it. And when I'm on top of my herbs, I don't miss a day without taking my herbs. I take my herbs every day with honey. I love my honey. Honey is what they call a
sattvic.
What's that?
Yeah. I was gonna say it's sattvic. It's like golden. It's like the sun.
Yes. And now you got me thinking how my vagus nerve is going. And it also, the honey actually improves the strength of whatever herbs you take it with. I forgot the exact name, but there's a name for it, an herb that you take that enhances the benefits of whatever you mix it with. And honey's like that. And I take that every day. I do not miss a day. If my body tells me, I go twice a day. Because you're telling me you're doing one juice a day with a 23-hour dry fast.
Yeah, I take an hour where I consume about a gallon of different liquids. So I'll do about a half gallon of juice. I do my superfood. I work with a superfood company that has a bunch of these herbs mixed into an organic, raw vegan superfood drink that I mix with like an herbal tea base just to get my infusion of herbs, And then I will usually do like kind of a dessert elixir with chocolate and reishi and, stuff like that. I also have just recently started including more solid food after 3 years of doing, actually 8 years of doing mostly liquid. Now I'm Like today, I had some vegan tacos as part of my break fast. You know, so just because it's not a consciousness, it's not a practice of limitation. It's a practice of cultivating health, and there's a psychic component to that. You do something restrictive like that for 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 7, 8 years, and you just kind of want something different, you know.
Well,
And so making
discipline is
room for that.
definitely key.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
discipline gives you being disciplined is to be a disciple of yourself, to be able to achieve and experience the things you want. And without discipline, you just can't have them. It's just
So
what it is. Like try to be an amazing pianist without practicing piano for years and years, right? That's just how it is in building skill and achieving fun things. you
those
know
who control others control nothing. Those who control themselves control everything.
yes.
Now, when in Elatom's teachings of breatharianism, is the goal to not eat at all?
No, uh, you know, the way Eli Tom teaches it, he doesn't even really talk about. He used to talk about it more in terms of breatharianism, as someone who eats little food or none at all. Now the conversation is much more about the cultivation of the life force energy. That a natural result, and that was the experience for me. Kind of my backstory in like 2010, I started to develop all kinds of issues. I was eating organic, etc., but I was drinking, I was having meat, I was, etc. And my body was shifting, and I went raw vegan. And at the same time, I started meditating again, sun gazing. All these things are just natural, connected with natural health. Chi and prana is the source of natural health, you know. So your body does that naturally, and everything we do with respect to a lot of the things we consume and most of the thoughts that go through our mind create the imbalances that then we are working with herbs and etc. to try to rebalance. But the part of the breatharian, he's calling it the solarian. He doesn't even want to use that anymore because it invites eating disorder mentality, and restrictive thinking, and not that expansive thinking of life cultivation, of happiness, of
Right, but has he
health,
figured out how to do internal alchemy to the level where he could completely and totally survive off of sunlight?
Yes, he has been doing that for a very long time. And he came out and taught with me here at my
See, that's
place.
amazing. That's
He,
amazing.
he was here for like 2 weeks, maybe a little more. He stayed in my cottage. We walked all around the desert. He taught and everything. He'd not consumed one single thing that whole time, you know. And he goes
He's the
around
highest
teaching.
level
He's
alchemist on the planet.
always, yeah. And there's a number. There's actually this lady in Ethiopia who is very young, who is completely breatharian, has been for like 12 years, had no chi practice, no alchemy, none of this. It's, I guess, her karma. She's worked on it, you know, but she has been food free for some time. And it's uh, from the thinking of Eli Tom, and in general, the thinking in the breatharian practice, a lot of it stems from stuff that was outlined by a man named Hilton Hotima in a book called Man's Higher Consciousness, where he talks about our beginnings, our ancient beginnings being breatharian, that we were all like these yogis who lived for thousands of years, on the breath, in the high places, and as we were going away from, this connects also with some astrology of like the Kali Yuga, going away from the galactic center into the darkness. People started to consume, water, and then fruit, and then, and on down into the, meat. And in Chinese traditional medicine, meat can be a medicine and can be used for healing. But generally speaking, in both Ayurveda and in Chinese traditional medicine, as you know, these are rajasic or even tamasic foods that stultify our sattvic energy, or that sort of angelic energy that can come through by the liberation of, the thought with the fasting and the breath work is to liberate these points of stagnation that block the life force. That naturally, if our channels are open and our breath is open, our dantian is open from not being just full of shit all the time, then you naturally can absorb more. And they found, even in studies, that people that live near the ocean have higher concentrations of iodine in their bodies just from breathing in the rotting iodine from the seaweed in the ocean. So we do absorb through our skin and through our breath nutrient and minerals, and and moreover, this body is like a gas electricity pressure machine. So getting the pressure right internally and externally through the breath and through not being overfilled, because what happens generally is someone will eat for 20, 40, 50 years, never fasting. You get this accumulation that fills up your lymphatic system, your digestive system, your lymphatic system, your colon, etc. And then it's plugging up.
It's called ama.
Yeah, it's plugging up the nadis and the bindus for the flow of the prana. And so that's the process, is then to renew through the detoxification and the elimination of the mental and physical toxicity that is stultifying us from our natural state of being bodhisattvas or yogis or naturally enlightened beings. That's our everyone's natural state. That state of consciousness at its core is enlightened bodhicitta.
Yes. So my question is then this, okay? You said that the practices result in the cause. So the breatharianism results in the cause. And you went over the fact that it leads people to eating disorders and et cetera, et cetera. But when you're doing everything right, you're practicing your qigong, you're drinking your fruit juice, you're eating healthy, you're fasting, you're not overeating, you're not eating 4 meals a day, you're eating 1, maybe 2 meals a day, you're cutting it down, your diet is very good. You're going out in the sun, you're practicing qigong. At some point, it takes a leap of faith.
There is that, and at some point you have to put yourself to the discipline of trying it. And so that's what I did, is I put myself through. I first started dry fasting, do 24 hours, and then I did 36 hours, and then I did 48 hours, and on up to 96 hours. And you just it's this thing of epigenetics too. You can stretch your genome to be adaptive to these forces, but you have to do it slowly and gently. And not force it at the same time. There's the thing of pushing out. It's the yin and the yang, right? There's a time to push out, to see where your boundary is, to go to it and touch it, but then you need to recede and go back in. And that's the fasting and refeeding cycle. And as you attenuate by attenuating your diet and by working with fasting and working with other forms of qi, because you can't just stop having energy. You're changing the energy over. Instead of food, you're moving over to heaven qi and earth qi and internal qi and all the qi that surrounds us. We're energy beings in a sea of energy, and you're just teaching your body to adapt to the prana, because it's electric. Your body has 50 trillion cells, and everyone makes 0.7 volts. Then there's the potential of 3.5 trillion volts to run through your body. So the whole process is more about managing your mind and your relationships, your work relation. You're not over extending your energy by getting mad at people. You're not, it's calling your energy back in and refining your energy and balancing your energy. And the result is food freedom. You can eat if you want to eat, but you don't need to eat,
Jesse, you just told me exactly what I needed to know. And I hope everybody who's watching heard what you just said, because what you just said is just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, you gotta turnover into the health chi, into the heaven chi, and into the earth chi.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think that you'll take the leap of faith into full breatharianism at some point?
Yeah, I mean,
How
the
old are you
thing
now?
to do, I'm 48, and it's also something that is natural city power that happens is more likely to happen, in the second half of your life, because it's you're getting past your householder years. That's where I am now. I'm still, I have a wife, I have children, I have, a house. Seek a time in my life where I can liberate to practice with utter devotion, kind of like you're doing now. I really admire, and
I
have.
admire what you're doing, and there's karma involved in both of our paths.
Yes, yes, obviously, yes. And the karma is always mixed, digpa and gewa, of bad and good in every situation. And there's, but there's an opportunity there to, to really dig into knowing thyself, getting into the pith instructions, your core, soul, um, sort of priority, you know, uh, without distraction, and and the thing about this city power, it's one of the minor city powers, of there's more advanced city powers than releasing food. But the idea in my mind is it liberates you from the fixation and concentration on your root chakra, trying to get food, trying to get sex, trying to get money, trying to get, status, recognition, validation. Like, you getting beyond that, you can get more into your heart center, your love and compassion, oneness vibration. Um, and so it's just that liberation physically from the constraints of having to do that stuff, you know. Um, and really, the highest power, according to the Buddhists, is just to have a continually loving heart mind, you know, that it doesn't oscillate, but you just are exuding love. Um,
Everything that you're saying right now is exactly what I've been studying and thinking and meditating on for the past 2 days. It literally everything you just said. In fact, I've been practicing some mudras like Matsya mudra, to help to calm the body and the mind. Then there's this mudra to open up all the chakras and spirits, all of the chakras open and make them combined. So just fantastic. For everybody watching, this is Jesse Boudreau. Follow him on Facebook. He's just a great guy. His
thank you.
posts on Facebook are they're just absolutely phenomenal. Um,
Thank you.
thanks for watching, Jesse. You want to say anything?
Oh no, just the only thing I'd like to say is it's really great to connect with you, Vincent. We've been, connected for a long time. I've been appreciating everything you've been putting out, your kind heart, and the reflection, that we have. And I look forward to just, connecting more and developing relationship. And just want to also send a loving vibration to everyone watching. May all beings find peace. And may we find peace so we may help all beings.
Until next time, Jesse.
Yes, brother. Look forward to it. I'll be with you in spirit.
All right, peace, man.
All right.